In this video, we're going to be diving in with more upgrade parts for this Kyosho Fazer D2 motor mount and the spur gear holder. Installing them, seeing what the benefits or maybe not benefits are of these parts as we put them on the car. If you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Troy. This is RoadsideRC. You'll tend to find me bashing or crawling or drifting or racing, plus doing product review videos and how-tos. Let's get started by getting the body off and then looking at these parts and seeing kind of what we've got our hands on. Main thing we're looking at here today, motor mount plates. Beautifully little machined there, you know, so we got that. Comes with a little bracket, little screws, and some instructions. While we're at it, aluminum spur gear holder maybe gives us opportunity here to run some different spur gears that otherwise maybe we won't be able to run. I'm doing these two upgrade parts together because they're both right here. You have to take off a lot of the same parts. We're going to start with the two screws for the spur gear holder. That comes off, and I'll be honest, I have no plan on ever putting this back on. Most of my drift cars, we're not worried about rocks, we're not worried about anything else. Gearing's typically exposed on a lot of the cars. We just get to two screws and a little plastic cover. We can get to just get rid of it, reduce that complication in our life. We're going to go ahead and get the motor loose here. Obviously just these two screws right here on the front. Motor slides right out the back. We're going to use our normal little cross wrench here to loosen up the nut right on the front in order to get the spur gear off. Require just a little bit of persuasion there to pop off. There we go. Tight fit in there. You can see where the cross pin goes into this one-piece spur gear. It is an 84 tooth, which you can see there on the front. Grab a pair of needle nose and make sure you don't lose this little cross pin. And then we're just looking at these three screws here in order to get that plate off. Hold the plate. There we go. Now, why in the heck do we want the new shiny red plate versus the standard black plate that it came with? Now, a lot of the times in a basher application, as an example, this may be too weak and it may get bent. It's not the situation here. Sometimes these are plastic, and you may want to upgrade to a metal one. That will help you with heat dissipation as you mount the motor to it. That is also, I believe, not the situation here. They both have the same adjustability. That'll also be a situation. Sometimes the factory motor plate won't have all the adjustability. This one does. So what the heck are we doing here? I think the only thing, this little bracket is a fan bracket. So you can actually mount it something like this. I think either on this screw hole or this screw hole. Then you can mount a fan over it to blow down on the motor. I don't have a fan that I'm planning on putting on this brushed motor right now, but it seems like that is probably the one reason why you would get this. Unless you just like shiny red things, because otherwise it does not provide you any other functionality. One thing to note here, I was holding this backwards. I just kind of assumed that the fancy fin side would be the side that we'd want to look at. It's not. Nope. Intent from Kyosho is for it to actually sit this direction. And it even has little cutouts right here in those fins to go around this mounting, which means you can just feel it kind of click in here. And it can go all the way up to this upper mounting position there, which, by the way, we might as well do while we're here. It's going to free up more room for me to organize my electronics up here. It's going to move more of that weight to the rear of the vehicle. Positive there. So while we're at it, we are going to go ahead and move this motor back. We're going to just reuse those same screws that we had before, put them right back in there. And then while we're here, we're going to go ahead and slide the motor back into position. At this point, note that I'm not tightening that motor up all the way. We're leaving it loose because obviously we're going to have to set the gear mesh with the spur gear once we get that on there. With this fancy-dancy spur gear holder, factory spur gear, like I said, 84 tooth, 48 pitch, no longer going to work. You can see the intention here. We have the cross pin there, we have the front here, but it's a one-piece design. This is now going to be looking for a two-piece design. So we're going to be looking for something like this. This is Yokomo spur gear. Now, this is the whole reason why you'd want to do this, is you get yourself away from these proprietary Kyosho gear sets, and you can get yourself to a gear set that's used by almost everybody in the RC drift world, your options for gearing really open up. Quick tip here is we're looking at spur gears and thinking about the gearing for an RC drift car. So the factory spur gear on this car was an 84. This is an 88. That means we made a 4-tooth difference, right? So 4 teeth divided by the 84 that was on there times 100, 4.7. So less than 5% difference in gearing by doing 4 teeth jump. Right? A lot of times I hear people that just absolutely are super stressed about exactly what tooth counts on their spur gear. 4 teeth made a 5% change. Not really that big a deal. The spur gear holder did come with everything that we do need, including these new screws so that we can mount it up. Now all I got to do is get it on here. You can see this Yokomo has a bunch of screw holes on it, so all I got to do is just kind of twist it until we find some that match up for us. And I think I got it right there. As I put this on, I'm going to put just the smallest dab of Loctite on here. I know in a drift car maybe you don't always have to use Loctite, but I'm a big fan, so I'm going to go ahead and put it just the smallest amount. I don't want this to accidentally come off. I'm going to go ahead, before we put that spur gear on, I'm going to go ahead and put this fan mount on. Conveniently goes through this side. Now it is ready. Put a little Loctite on there. It's ready for a fan to be mounted that can blow across that motor. Final verdict on this motor mount and spur gear holder. The motor mount itself, fundamentally by itself, is not doing you anything, and there's no reason to buy it except that it's shiny aluminum. Now, the one benefit that it does also give you is the ability for that easy fan mount. So if you have concerns about your motor getting too hot, which honestly, most of the time in RC drifting, unless you're really driving in hot weather and a lot of turbo and boost and a lot of RPM, it just doesn't really normally a concern. But if you are very concerned and you want a fan on your car, then this is a convenient way of going about it that looks quite nice. So that's probably the only real reason why you would want the motor mount. The spur gear holder is legitimate. So, you know, I looked and I didn't see a whole bunch of different gears from Kyosho out there available right now. Spur gear holder is not that expensive. Throw on one of the wide variety of spur gears that you then have access to. Yeah, it's probably pretty nice. You know, you get to a track, you're out somewhere, if you're driving this car, you strip your factory spur gear, which is one of the few things that I've actually ever broken on a drift car. You then have, if you're at a hobby shop or if there's a hobby shop nearby, really good chance that you're going to be able to find a gear for it, unlike those very specific Kyosho ones. So the spur gear holder, that seems pretty legitimate. And then of course the bonus of us moving the motor more rearward is just moving that biggest lump of weight that you have in your whole car, moving that closer over those rear tires in order to help your total rear weight balance. That's just going to give you that little bit more traction, a little bit more speed around the track. It's something I'm typically a pretty big fan of. If you have questions about anything that I've shown you in this video, please leave them down in the video comments. I'm going to be happy to help answer them in any way that I can. If you're curious about anything else that I've done with this car, I have more upgrades sitting over here that I need to put onto it. There's a whole Kyosho Fazer D2 playlist that'll be popping up over here to your right. I hope to see you in one of those videos. And then down below in the video description, if you want these parts themselves, there will be a link down there where you can click and buy them. So I hope to see you in one of these other videos. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.